Hey, it's your bro. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing for loops in C++. Let's get into it. For loops are fairly similar to while loops, which we covered in the last lesson, and at first it might be difficult to understand the differences between the two. So for loops are used to repeat some code only a limited amount of times, compared to while loops where it can be repeated infinitely. So the advantage of for loops is that we know how many times that a for loop is going to iterate before it even begins. For example, we could create a for loop that can count down from 10, and once we reach 0, perhaps we could display a message such as Happy New Year. But first, let me give you the basic syntax of a for loop. So this is the basic structure for a for loop. We have the word for, a set of parentheses, and then a code block for this for loop. And we'll put whatever code we want within the code block, and we'll have that repeat so many times. Now, within the parentheses of the for loop, there's going to be 3 statements, and each of these is going to have a specific function, and each statement is going to be separated with a semicolon. So let's create a for loop. Sounds good, right? Let's create a program that will begin by counting up to 10 and then display a message. And then after that, we'll do the reverse and count down from 10. So we'll need to add that structure that I showed in that last slide. So we need the word for, a set of parentheses, and then a set of curly brackets for the subset of code for the for loop. Now, there were 3 statements to fill within the parentheses of the for loop. The first is some sort of index or counter, and you can declare a counter like variable in here. You can name this whatever, like index or maybe counter or maybe even x. Commonly, you'll see people declare a variable named I as like index, and then we can set this equal to a number, perhaps just 1. So this is our first statement. We're setting up a counter for this for loop to track how many times this for loop has repeated. Next, we'll need some sort of condition. When do we want this for loop to stop? Let's say that we want to count up to 10, so we'll continue this for loop as long as I is less than or equal to 10. That's our second statement. And next, we can increment or decrement our counter, and we could just say I++ for shorthand. So one key feature with for loops is that we know how many times that this for loop is going to repeat before we actually get this even started. So if I is 1 and we're going to continue this for loop as long as I is less than or equal to 10, we're going to be repeating this for loop 10 times. Compared to while loops, we don't know how many times we'll be repeating a while loop. That's as long as some condition is true. So what do we want to do during each iteration of our for loop? Let's just display whatever our counter I is. So cout I, then end line. And then after we exit the for loop, we can display a message such as you can count to 10. So this program is simply just going to count to 10 and display this message. That's basically it. But let's test it out, then we'll make a more sophisticated program involving for loops. Okay, so this went by fairly quickly because we weren't adding any pauses or anything, but you can see that it repeated the for loop 10 times, and it's just counting how many times it repeated. And then once we exited the for loop, it continued with the rest of the program, and it displayed that message, you can count to 10. This time we're going to count down from 10. So for our counter I, let's set this equal to 10. And for our condition, we'll continue this for loop as long as I is greater than or equal to 0. Now, we're not going to increment I, we're going to decrement it. So we're going to type in I, then minus minus. So after each iteration of this for loop, we're going to subtract 1 from our counter. And then we're going to display whatever our counter currently is, and then once we exit the for loop, we will display a different custom message. Happy New Year. All right, so same process as before. Let's run this. All right, so let me expand this window. We started from 10. After each iteration of the for loop, we're counting down by 1. Once we hit 0, then we exit the for loop, and it displays our custom message. And with this third statement where you can increment or decrement your counter, you can also increment it or decrement it by a certain amount. Let's say that we want to count down by 2. Well, we could say I minus equals 2. So we will then count down by 2, starting from 10. Yep, you can see that here. We're counting down by 2 each time. Likewise, you could do the opposite where you can add as well. So if you want to count up by 2, you would just say I plus equal 2. And it's not limited to just 1 or 2. You could do like 3, 4. Doesn't really matter, but commonly people will increment or decrement by 1. And an alternative way of writing this is that you don't necessarily need this third statement within the parentheses. You could add this increment or decrement counter at the end of your for loop, and this would work just the same too, but commonly you'll see people put it within the parentheses. So yeah, you can see that this worked just the same, but there's an alternative way of writing these for loops too, but commonly you'll see people have all 3 statements together for their for loops. So the main difference between a while loop and a for loop is that a for loop will execute a limited amount of times, and we already know how many times the for loop is going to iterate before the loop even begins. And with while loops, we do not know how many times the while loop will iterate necessarily. It's as long as some condition remains true. It could be infinite. So here's an example of the differences between a for loop and a while loop. So imagine we're in the military and our drill sergeant is instructing us to do push-ups, and he says, drop and give me 20. This is a perfect example of a for loop because we already know how many iterations, how many push-ups we're going to be doing. We're going to do 20 push-ups and then we're going to stop. An example of a while loop would be a drill sergeant telling us that we need to do push-ups until he says we're done. So we're going to start doing push-ups until the drill sergeant says we're done then. And it could be forever. Who knows? It could be 20. It could be less. It could be more. It's while some condition remains true, basically. So that's the main difference between a for loop and a while loop. We already know how many we're going to do. With while loops, we don't really know. Let's create another program involving a for loop. This program is going to ask for a word from a user, and then it's going to use a for loop to spell out each individual character in the word that we give as user input. So this is what we're going to do. We'll create a string variable, perhaps named word, and then we will create a prompt to have the user enter the word to spell. Then we'll use cin or getLine, whatever the word is. We'll create a for loop, so for, a set of parentheses, then a set of curly brackets. Then we'll need to place the 3 statements within the parentheses of the for loop, and we'll have to add the 3 statements to this for loop. The first is the index or counter, so we're going to declare a variable named I, and set this equal to 0. And the reason that we're setting this to 0 is because with strings, the first position is always 0, and then the next position is 1, then 2, then 3, so on and so forth. Next, for our condition, what we're going to type here is I is less than our word dot, then we're going to use the length function. So this is going to return the length of whatever word we type in. So this might change every time we pick a new word to enter in. And for the last statement, we're going to increment our counter by 1 every time we iterate through this for loop. Now within the code block for the for loop, what we're going to type is cout, then we're going to type in the word, our word variable, dot, and we're going to use the at function, all right? And then do you remember in the previous lesson on string functions, if we wanted the first character of a string, we would put 0 within here. If we wanted the second character, we would put 1. What we're actually going to do for this for loop is place our counter I within here. So during the first iteration, I is going to equal 0. So we're going to display whatever the first character is. Then after we complete 1 cycle of the for loop, our counter I is going to increase by 1. So then when we reach this statement for the second time, it's going to display the second letter. After the next iteration, it's going to increment by 1 again, and then it'll display the third letter. So it's going to display all the letters of a word that we type in. And I think I'll just add a space between each letter. There's just one thing I have to fix before we run this program. I'm just going to add a colon and a space to our prompt. Okay, let's test this. enter the word to spell. I'm going to type in the word pizza, and our program will display each letter of the word that we type in. So basically, a for loop only iterates a limited amount of times, and we know how many times it's going to iterate before the loop actually begins. So that's basically this lesson on for loops. If you would like a copy of the code that we worked on today, I'll post it in the comments down below and pin it to the top. If you would like additional practice or a project to work on, why don't you create your own program that includes a for loop and post it in the comments down below. But yeah, that is how for loops work in C++. Hey you, if you enjoyed this lesson, then you can help me help you in 3 easy steps by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.